So we're here, today is Friday, October 21st, it says on my thing here, 2011, and we're at Tammy Hoffs' house with Timothy Bottoms and Tammy and my friend Neal over here. And we're going to talk a bit about Tammy's film, which is headed, it's on Showtime now, it's headed for DVD soon.
Yes.
Right?
DVD.
Use my piece in whatever way you want. Don't worry about it.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
I love it.
So, anyway, let me ask you this. What got you into this crazy film about girls who were prostitutes in college in the first place?
My manager.
Okay.
My agent friend.
Ah.
You thought he was perfect for the job.
Yeah, and so I wanted to play the cop, you know, and there was a time when I was up for that part, and, but I think Angus McFadden was a much better chance than that. And we were going to shoot it in Washington State, and then the whole thing fell apart. Unions. I mean, I like unions, but this were electricians or something, right?
Teamsters.
Yeah. Well, come on, SAG. SAG's been good, but
yes.
Directors Guild and all that, but.
No.
What was it, electricians or something up there?
It was the Teamsters, and it was the camera guys. They needed to double the camera crew that they had.
Money.
Yeah. We just didn't have it. I love the union.
Yeah.
But they can be vicious.
Yeah, Josh financed this whole thing.
No, he and his friends did.
Okay, he and his friends.
Same difference.
Well, it's a tremendous movie, and I'm sure you're really pleased that you were in it.
The people who paid for it.
But it was your agent.
Who? Well, yeah, he brought me into this thing.
Yeah.
Good old Mitch. And
did he mention Malcolm McDowell?
Sure. Yeah, and I'd worked with Malcolm before, kind of a little Playboy thing where we all shared a couple of girls.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd kind of done it before, and I liked Malcolm.
I forget about the Playboy thing.
Yeah, you can see that one.
Did you happen to see the film that Tamar did with Malcolm McDowell before?
Roses and Petrol?
Truly beautiful film.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Okay.
He had to have a lot of faith.
Yeah.
To take this aside. I think we.
After we did the whole thing, that wasn't a lot of faith. What the faith came in the last scene that we shot in your bedroom, which was almost a year later.
That's right.
Which was full frontal nudity, and you know, as an actor, there's only one person you can really trust on a film. It's a director. If you don't trust the director, boy, you shouldn't be in it. And by then, I really trusted her, and I thought, well, you know, I can expose myself. I'm not married anymore, so that wasn't an issue. I would probably have never done it if I was, you know, still married. Now ex-wife, that wouldn't have done that. But I thought, well, here's a time in my life, my career needs this, and I need this for myself. I need to be able to do this.
You look tremendous. I mean, you're 60 years old, but you look like you're about 30.
Hey.
No, I mean, look at that. You're looking fantastic.
This is so great. I love you, Ben. We all love each other. Where are we going with this? Back to Woodstock.
So I'm going to step back for just a second before that, and then we'll go straight through the rest of the questions about the film. I did find out something very amusing about you. Aside from the fact that you grew up in Santa Barbara with three brothers, all of whom were in films, and you started out doing madrigals. And you did a tour in Europe at the age of 17?
15.
15, yeah.
I was the youngest.
Yeah. And I actually saw a film in which he sang.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell her.
Oh.
David.
Oh, yeah. Mildred Albert Freeman. Do you know her? She was like big producer in Israel.
No.
Well, yeah, we went to Israel, and I played King David, and I sang the songs of David.
He did.
Yeah, all a cappella.
And really, really well, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was a singer. I sang, when I was singing, I started singing when I was 12, and I sang, my singing teacher really liked me. It was a high tenor or whatever. So I got to sing for I got to sing for the Protestants, the Methodists, the Unitarians, and the Jews. And sometimes all four in one day. And the Catholics.
But not for the Muslims.
No, but I could.
They probably heard
that is great. I think that's unique. That's
it was, well, I had a voice,
in the world. Oh my God, we neat.
You know, madrigals are very difficult. I mean, they're technical, they're beautiful. They were sung in Shakespeare's plays. You know, incredible music. So that.
And well, that's what got me into the theater.
How the hell did you get into madrigals? I mean, somebody must have
auditioned.
Really?
And but I had sang a lot of that. I'd started musical comedy. I loved musical comedy in junior high school, and then throughout high school, and so it was my dream to be on Broadway in a musical.
Did you have a mentor when you were in Santa Barbara? Somebody who reached down?
Yeah, Bradford Dillman.
Wow.
And Susie Parker was my acting mentor. But I got a lot of support from people like Richard Widmark, Carl Malden, Dame Judith Anderson, Robert Mitchum.
But I meant when you were a kid. When I
was a kid, I got all this. Yeah.
That early? Wow.
Yeah.
I know Mitchum lived up there, so.
Oh yeah. They all lived up there at that time. Right. A lot of the actors did, and they supported our local theater group. There was a man by the name of Jack Nakano, who was a theater arts instructor there, and he created a pro-amateur production company where professionals would actually come in and work with high school students. I did a Romeo and Juliet there. Malcolm Black, National Theater Company director. He also was Stratford and Toronto. Do they have a Stratford Theater in Toronto?
Oh,
he was the
well, there's Stratford, Ontario.
Ontario. Okay, well that's and he was the director there. He directed me as Romeo in Romeo and Juliet, and so Bradford played the prince. We did other plays. Eva Marie Saint, Jeffrey Hayden did stuff. Louis Gossett Jr. came up. So by the time I was out of high school, I was quite accomplished. In fact, the Romeo and Juliet I did.
Has anyone ever asked you this before?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. I've kind of been gone for.
Hopefully they have.
Oh yeah. But that Romeo and Juliet was critiqued that year in the LA Times as one of the 10 best plays in the nation, which included all of Broadway.
Because that's the perfect age to play it, obviously.
Yeah, at that young age.
Tammy, can you jump in here and tell me about your mentor when you were 15 and were in fucking university?
She was doing what in university?
She was in the university.
What did you say?
She was in the university.
I was in the university when I was 15. And you were singing.
And you were.
Did you have a mentor who reached down and said, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna get.
Are you asking if I had one?
Yeah.
No.
Come on, look at Andy Davis.
Well, that was different. That wasn't when I was 15. Yes, Andy Davis was that guy for me, but it was way later in my life. That is not to say.
John Cassavetes.
Well, yeah, I had lots of mentors when I was a 20-ish looking 30-ish person.
Right.
Including John, and including Andy, and including all these guys who were magnificent. But the real start was, of all people, Leonard Nimoy.
Really?
Mr. Spock. Yes.
Okay.
And how funny that was. I used to go to the theater, as I've told you before, we've talked about this, that I would go to the theater on Little Santa Monica, where they had lots of little theaters in the round in the 60s. And coming from the East, I assumed everybody did that. Little did I know that people went to the movies even to go to the theater, right?
Yeah.
But some of the young actors were doing theater, and I went to see the Jean Genet play called, wait a minute.
The Maids?
No, not The Maids. No, Death Watch.
Oh, Death Watch. Yeah.
And Leonard Nimoy was playing this scary character who, very scary. He was a murderer, and nobody knew which of the prisoners was this guy who all the guys had heard about, but he had not revealed himself. But they knew he had a specific tattoo on his chest. Okay? But nobody knew who it was. And Paul Mazursky, by the way, who's also in this playing. Yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, and Vic Morrow was the director, who later died in that horrible tragedy on that set.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was terrible. Okay, so I see the play. Wait,
go ahead.
You have to hear this.
I'm listening.
I see this play, and it stuck with me. I thought it was fantastic. And then, more or less forgot about it. And a couple of weeks later, I'm picking up my 2.5-year-old child at nursery school
Uh-huh.
and walking up to the same place where they deposited all the babies, figure out which one is which, is Leonard Nimoy. But I didn't, when he
Is
was.
this Susan?
No, this is John, my
Oh,
oldest
oh,
kid.
oh, oh.
And then the joke of it is, now he was just like a regular out-of-work actor. He wasn't that scary, massive guy that they made in the play. And I kind of, as he walked next to me, I thought, I know him. Where did I meet him? And it was quite funny when he sort of revealed that he was an out-of-work actor. That's why he was the mother picking up the kid. And he then, it became clear to me. And so I, sort of, waited for a moment and said, gee, I thought you were great in the play, da-da-da-da. And next thing I know, they're doing a movie of it. And he asked me to be on the art crew.
Oh,
Because he knew that he needed somebody who could put this tattoo on his chest for film rather than just, it was barely ever seen except one time in the whole play. But for the movie, he was going to have a lot of days where you saw the tattoo and he had very delicate skin on his chest. And I'm this 30-year-old girl, you can imagine, going, yeah, I have a job painting Leonard Nimoy's chest. And he was not yet a sort of crazed, extraterrestrial. He was just a good-looking man.
Yeah.
That's how I got in the movie business. He was my mentor. After that, he helped me so much.
He opened the door.
He opened the door with that movie. That movie was colossal. Of the who shot it, Haskell Wexler. I mean, every single person that worked on that movie became
A superstar.
a superstar in whatever area they were. And he never forgot. When Andy Davis and I went to Chicago to do Stony Island, Leonard Nimoy showed up on the day that we had a big concert because he was going to really corral all those crazy people because his name got people. We couldn't afford, just a big mob. And he brought him in. We put a sign up that said, Spock is here. And
So Tim, is this some of the energy that got you into this film in the first place?
Yeah.
What's sitting next to you here?
Yeah,
Really is.
she disappears on the set as a director. She's really having
That's
fun.
great.
She's quiet and unassuming.
You enjoy working with her.
Yeah, if I can find her.
Uh-huh.
She's always somewhere near
she's
the camera.
short.
But she just disappears. She just blends in. And is the perfect director, diplomat kind of a person.
How did you relate to Cameron? Have you known anybody like that? The character you played? Tell us about who was Cameron in the movie?
Board of trustees of a private university, evidently somewhat of an endless income, sex addict with a dark side.
Yeah. Interesting character.
Yeah. Somebody that likes, phallic symbols and sex at the same time.
Shotguns.
Well, shotguns, whatever kind of gun, something that goes bang. Yeah. Right. Something like that.
I think that's a good description. A great description, and I think there are plenty of men out there
Yes,
like this.
just
Accidentally, they get into trouble. But
well, that's all about is
Phil Spector.
Yeah, it was used him, obviously. Phil.
Yeah. How did you like working with these 4 wonderful, beautiful young women, by the way?
Oh, they're all lovely.
So anyway, they were marvelous. So one of them was
lovely girls. They're very talented.
Lily McDowell, yeah.
Lily, of course, Mary Steenburgen's daughter.
Yeah. Do you know her, Mary?
Yeah, I've met her
Wonderful.
through my father is a somewhat famous sculptor of cetaceans and ocean-going mammals. And Ted Danson had a big gathering in Santa Barbara, and my dad's art was on the table, so I got to meet her and Ted.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What's your father's name? Let's just.
James Bottoms.
James
His
Bottoms.
friends call him Bud.
Uh-huh.
James Alfred.
And
But
he's
he
how
does.
old now? Or?
Yeah, he's 83. But if you've ever been to Santa Barbara, go to the pier and you'll see his dolphins there.
Love Santa Barbara.
But
I
if
know
you go
that.
down to the Long Beach Aquarium, my father made the big dolphins in front of that.
I just was down there.
You drive around it. He does
So
them all
glad I
over the
asked the
world. In fact,
Yeah, you mentioned.
I think on the throttles on the Rainbow Warrior or one of those ships are his dolphins on.
Huh. Marvelous.
Yeah, all the presidents had his work.
So you have these beautiful young women, and
Yes.
Tammy interviewed them, and I wrote a little bit about the things that they gave you. They gave you lots of information because they are young women. They've been to college. They've been through this kind of stuff. It's a really interesting film, but it's not boring. You know, you could have done it in a boring way. It would have been, you know, like with a feminist kind of thing. But it's really an erotic film that gets the audience caught up in it. But you do feel, I mean, how did you feel towards them?
Well, at first, until we shot that second thing, there really wasn't any visual eroticism until we shot the scene upstairs.
Well, there was eroticism in the story.
In the story, but you never saw anything.
Yes.
And being a motion picture, it's a visual art,
Exactly.
so unless you see it, you feel cheated.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to give it that
Yeah.
piece. And
That was a year later, huh?
Yeah, almost
Wow.
a year later. By utilizing that, it became part of several different scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought everything.
It brought everything into perspective.
There's an interesting reason.
It
for
put the
this.
rum in the Coke.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There was an interesting reason for this. In today's world, when you are working with young actresses that have managers or agents,
Mm-hmm.
you are restricted to what they're able to do contractually.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, even if you didn't propose or have in your script that they read a scene where they would be making love, you know,
Yeah.
even a lovely scene, not a scene where they're being a prostitute.
Right.
They are not allowed to show any skin. They're not allowed to undress. They're not allowed to do almost anything.
So since you're both here, why don't you tell me how you did that scene? Because it's incredible. It comes very early in the film, and it explodes. You know, that it's a scene with a shotgun and, you know, all kinds of other things going on there.
That was shot a year before with the shotgun.
Okay, well that's very
That was
erotic
all-
in its own very weird way.
Right, but
too.
that wasn't. The only thing you saw was us coming out with the shotgun.
Yeah.
And I had some shorts on and shoes. The nudity was put in a year later.
Okay.
What was actually going on in that room,
Mm-hmm.
which was tied to the interrogation
Right.
scene
With the
and
cop.
the opening
Right.
of the film. So
So tell me about doing that. I mean, between the two of you, as you said, you really have to trust the director. What did she think of it? Now, what was her name? Ren, the last name Ren or something?
Oh, Ashley,
Ashley.
Ray
Oh, Ashley.
Collins, the girl,
Yeah.
the actress.
who is quite a fine actress, by the
Oh,
way.
Yeah.
She's a
wonderful.
brilliant actress.
Right.
And she does all kinds of things. She's writing a book. She's got a blog.
Oh, she's on the Huffington
Huffington
Post.
Post.
She is she has an MFA from Harvard.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah.
And she's
So
knockout.
tell me about how you did it together. I mean, that's amazing. This is
Well,
just
for me,
worth the whole day. right
well,
here.
for me, I knew as they were preparing the scene in the bedroom, I had to come out, and so I stripped naked and got in the pool and just let myself walk around naked, just with people looking at me, thinking,
So
okay.
It was so much fun to look at.
And then I just walked up, I was just naked.
Yeah.
Trying to get through the fear of possibly having an erection or not having one or being able to see my penis from the fear.
Right.
As a woman, everything is kind of underneath you.
Yeah.
So, with a man, you're kind of out there hanging in the wind. So,
Exactly.
so I had to get over that fear. And so it was right there in that pool, and I walked right up to this room, and everyone said, "Hi, Tim," and I felt like I was on a porn set for a minute.
Yeah.
But it wasn't at all. And but I had to break through that invisible fear,
Yeah.
and I couldn't have done it without Tammy.
How did you feel as you were shooting this? I mean,
Well,
you must have been
before
very
we even
pleased.
start shooting, when I saw what he had done,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute, I got it.
Oh, Neal, I'll get it.
When I saw him in the pool,
Mhm.
I mean, I almost wanted to take my clothes off and jump in the pool with him. And understand, not
Right.
because I'm in love with him, which I am, of course, on the level of our creativity,
Right.
but just because I knew that we all had to be completely relaxed about being nude. And I had to be too. And when we went upstairs, the people that I wasn't sure I could bring back to work with us for that scene, and it was more than one scene, it was going to happen a lot in the movie and clarify things that we knew we needed, which is why we did it. It wasn't that we just wanted to have some nudity in the movie.
Exactly.
But
It belongs there. You've got to do it.
It was so important.
Yeah.
So, because of Tim doing what he did and being so relaxed about it, and then me seeing what he had done and felt, hey, no big deal. I mean, I don't mean that that I wasn't, you know, thrilled with his choice of doing it and how he looked. You know, when you are not comfortable with your body, you don't look like that when you're nude.
Yeah.
Something is kind of hiding in some weird way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't with you. You were just wandering around just like a little kid who's at the beach. So when we went upstairs, my wardrobe person, the makeup person, numerous people that I had asked if they could come over that day, especially the wardrobe, because they have all kinds of concoctions to hide you when you're doing a nude scene.
Yeah,
And she brought them all, you know, a cock cover, a tits cover, I don't know, they have nicknames for them.
Right.
And you know, I offered that to you. And then
They're all too small.
yes, right. Okay, I'm a witness. And then, you know, great big bathrobes, stuff like, you know, the boxer between, you know, the rounds. And so when we went upstairs to the bedroom, I did not notice anybody acting nervous or panicky. And we had a pretty big crew in there. It was amazing. Everybody was so relaxed. They never put those, and maybe for 1 second, but I don't think you ever put that bathrobe on. It was really quite amazing. We all were sort of just part of it, and that's why it worked.
Right.
That was the only way it would have worked. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. I mean, it's very artistic.
Oh, it's so...
You know, almost operatic.
With the music.
You know, it's
Loved
interesting. Last night I was watching the Last Picture Show and all the commentary, and Sybil Shepherd mentioned the nudity in her film and how she sued Playboy because they weren't supposed to use her breasts.
Which film was that?
The Last Picture Show.
Yeah, that's right. That was a pool scene.
I've got interesting story for you regarding that.
She sued Playboy and won too, and it changed
Playboy?
the rules.
Oh, because
Playboy
they printed
magazine
something?
used it. It changed the rules for actors in SAG forever, evidently, what she did.
What was your story?
It doesn't matter.
No, tell us.
Well, I was in bed with Cloris Leachman doing the screwing scene.
When you
Of course,
take all your clothes off.
I was really scared. I mean, I had worn a jockstrap and some really tight underwear and bathing suit because, once again, 19 years old, fear of erection. But that wasn't the problem at all. Absolutely, you couldn't find my genitalia, and I was so scared. And they said, do this on the bed, pretend to be fornicating. I couldn't do it, so actually a stunt guy got under the bed and was pushing it up with his feet. So I was bouncing up and down on Cloris. But there was a time when they said, okay, cut. Peter took a phone call, and the walls were so thin, and I could hear him talking on the phone, and he was being yelled at. I think it was Bert Schneider. I don't care what you have to do. F her if you have to, but get her to take that bra off because she was not going to take her brassiere off in that movie.
Yeah.
Well, it was a couple of days later that he came out of her room early in the morning, and that's when she left. And that wasn't long after that. I had him up against the wall.
She was a kid, for God's sake.
Well, first thing she said when she came down from Memphis, I'm just here for fun. I don't really want to do movies in my life. And then evidently she ran off to go see Elvis Presley or something. At least that's what she's saying. And everybody wanted to be with her because she was so beautiful. And then she ends up living with Peter and doing that. And it was just like, that was the sad part.
It's really interesting, Tim.
Well, it is interesting, but it just broke my heart. Because here, what was happening in the story was happening in real life. It was the same kind of dysfunction.
And yet you did another film with him.
No, part two. The only reason I did part two is if I could bring in a director that I wanted to start, George Hickenlooper, who I gave him his first job, and was not going to make that movie unless I could make a documentary about it. The first one. And I put $75,000 of my own money into that.
And tell us the name of it.
Well, it was called The Life and Times. It was Picture This, The Life and Times of Peter Bogdanovich in Archer City, Texas. But I was not going to be part of that film.
Yeah, interesting.
Based on the way he had what had happened.
Manipulated.
Well, yeah, I thought there was
All
a
you said.
manipulation there, and the disparity among the cast and crew, and I remember when he put his hands on Robert Surtees' hands and told him how he wanted that camera operated. Surtees told him to get a monkey, left the set for 3 days.
Yeah, that's.
You
can compare the relationship the two of you had with that.
Well, and I was just a kid. I wanted to leave, go back to the ranch.
It was only your second film.
Yeah, it was Dalton Trumbo who gave me my first break.
And you love working with him.
Oh my God, Dalton Trumbo. I lived with him for 6 months.
Commentary on that film was beautiful.
Oh, Dalton was an exceptional person, human being.
We have mutual friends. You also said that Luis Manuel was supposed to actually direct that.
He was very sick.
Yeah.
And convinced.
One of my best friends is his son.
Yeah. Luis.
So Luis is supposed to.
Luis put a lot of information into that.
Luis were very close friends.
And Luis had a lot to do with that script.
That's so interesting. Wow, I never heard that before.
Yeah.
So what was the most fun you had with Pound of Flesh, both of you?
The most fun is
now. I mean, usually people are finished with a film, they don't even want to see the people anymore.
That happens so much. I live here now.
It's amazing.
Mom!
And Malcolm McDowell calls me every other day, and I see all the girls, and I'm very friendly with all of them. And I hope very soon we're going to do another.
I just want to hang out next to Superstar's mom. Suzanne Hoffs of the Bengals.
Right.
If you ever been front row, watch her play her guitar.
We've done that together. We went to a concert.
She is hot.
He was my date for a concert at the beach where we were dancing our little butts off.
And you did a film with your daughter
too.
I
did.
The All-Nighters.
Yeah. And there's a lot of fun in that too.
Did you have a question for her about her daughter?
I noticed that she had played a few years ago with Danny Harrison up at the Key Club.
Absolutely, I know Danny too.
And I thought that was amazing.
It was amazing, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. At the Key Club.
He's a good friend of hers.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They're on tour with a really hot album right now.
I know, I listened to it actually.
It's great. It's a great album.
Great.
And all the reviews of it are great, and I just am so excited for her, because you know what? Every time you get that creative urge, if you can succeed, sometimes you get it and nothing good happens. And this was the opposite. It's been such a revitalization of the band. And
what was it like shooting her as she was a kid then when you shot that film. It was 87 or something.
Yeah, right? She was wonderful. Yeah. And again, the other girls were wonderful.
Right.
And choosing them was the same process as we did in Pound of Flesh. Absolutely the same. I don't use casting directors. I use my own instincts. I don't audition people ever. I think that is the best way not to get the right thing from
I hardly
acting.
ever get a job. I think maybe out of all the work I've done, I've been cast from auditions less than 3 or 4 times.
I'm sure.
In the whole 45 years I've been working.
Guess what? You can never assess what you're going to get with an actor
40 years
by reading them or auditioning them. There's only one way. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that ability to get the part in the audition.
I don't even understand why they do it. Now, I feel differently about a table read. Some directors will sit down, but they've more or less chosen the people.
I love table reads.
That is the greatest way. So after you've gotten to know an actor and you're pretty convinced that this is the right person, but it hasn't become contractual. If you can sit down and read,
it's fun.
Man, it's fun and you're relaxed. And it's not like, first of all, you sat outside in the waiting room.
Well, I got to meet a lot of actors because even Marie Saint always had table reads at her house just for plays and stuff. Jeffrey, and so everybody would go up to her place in Montecito in the summer or during the weekend, and we get to meet all these wonderful people just by reading plays.
Are you still close to Jeff Bridges?
The last time I saw Jeff, I was working 3 mules in a big open range feral horse. I was in the horse business, and I had a home on Hot Springs Road, and I heard he had bought Kenny Loggins' place up on Number Hot Springs, and there's a public access trail that goes through. So I wanted to sell these mules and these horses and this horse, and so I wanted to get them used to traffic and stuff. So I had it tied up pretty tight, head to tail. thought I'd take him up to Hot Springs, and then there's a connector trail come down to Cold Springs. And so I got up there, and I kind of forgot what the trail was, and it was kind of overgrown. I kind of got tangled up in the brush, and all of a sudden this guy comes out, "Hey, don't you know you're on private property?" And it's Jeff. And I'm back in the brush. I got this baseball hat on, and this big old open Rose Nevada mare, and these 3 little mules that, were nasty little things. And he was kind of coming up and getting close, and I said, "Hey, buddy." I didn't want to say who I was. I had dark glasses on, I had a baseball hat, and he had just done White Squall or something like that. And he said, "The trail's over there." I said, "No, there's a public access trail through this private property." He says, "I know, I own it." And I said, "Oh, well, you look kind of familiar." I said, and kind of looked up. I said, "You look like that guy, Lloyd Bridges." Jack kind of looked at me. He said, "Well, where'd you get those ones?" I said, "They're mine. I live right down the road." He said, "Well, where are you going to go?" I said, "Well, hell, where do you want to go? I mean, you can go all the way to Bakersfield. You can go up to Hot Springs and hit Camino Cielo, go down Four Bush Trail and hit the Lower Buckhart and go over to the Sisquoc and all the way to Tehachapi." Well, I worked all those ranches back there, and he, "Well, where can I rent a couple horses?" "I don't know." He took up the coast. I said, "Jeffrey, it's Tim." "Oh, Bob's right." That was the last time I saw him. That was quite a few years ago.
Oh, that's a great story.
And now he's a cowboy.
Yeah, but
Which is
he
really
did,
funny.
honestly.
He's a sweet,
The last time
very
he
kind
was
person.
interviewed, and I think it was Charlie Rose or something like that, he said,
What did he say?
"Tim Bottoms really deserves the credit."
Yeah.
Jeffrey did?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. On a good...
Jeffy?
Yes, he did. And I was
What
so
a-
excited when I heard that.
Is that a nice thing to say, or
It
I'm
was-
better than
it
you
was
thing to say?
No, it wasn't done that
Well,
way.
well,
It was
what do you
very-
think?
I think it was...
What do you think?
He's a
What do you
very
think-
genuine person.
what do you
I
think
knew his
Cloris-
dad, and I know
What do
his
you
brother.
think Cloris Leachman said? She said the same thing.
About me?
Yeah.
She's so
Are you
sweet.
kidding? For God's
No.
sake, you're an 18, 19-year-old kid
And
playing.
also, the role that you
She's
played
so
was...
nice.
And she won an Academy Award.
But I got to rope with Ben Johnson.
That's,
Yeah.
He invited me.
And you
with-
did a beautiful film on him, too.
But I got to do more fun roping with him.
Yeah.
What's all this stuff about horses? I mean, it's really amazing what I've been reading, but I don't know how much...
Well,
of it's-
I grew up with horses. I grew up in
But
Montecito.
do you have wild horses?
Well, now, yeah, I worked at open range feral horses. I went to a wild horse school for
Feral
20 years.
horses. Explain to the world what that means.
Well, it's the horse is a domesticated animal, so they don't consider it a wild animal. Like wild game, like an elk or a deer.
Right.
But the history of the open range feral horse brought in original barbs, Spanish barbs. Brought in. We refer to them as a Mustang, but a Mustang is a breed. It's an Arab barb. And then other horses were introduced every time the cavalry, the United States Army, military would do a campaign against Native Americans. They would, after the campaign, they would let a lot of their stallions go, and those horses would breed up these other horses. So you got these interesting crosses. And then they became quite a pest, and there was a great movie, The Misfits. Did you ever
Yeah,
see
I love that movie.
And they would go out,
Montgomery Clift, my
Monty
favorite.
and those guys, they go out and grab those horses to sell them just for horse meat. Well, a lot of the times they were taking really the big ones, and they kind of destroyed the gene pool of the open range horse. But in certain areas up in Oregon and places down in New Mexico, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, there's the Pryor Mountains horses.
Right.
Those are descendants of Enchanted Horse, the very famous. Well, we know him as a Crazy Horse, but he was known as Enchanted Horse. That was his real name. And he was, assassinated, hunted down like a lot of the other guys, and assassinated by the United States Army. But those horses are really unique. And so,
those are Indian horses.
well, those were his horses that they hid out.
Yeah.
But so you get all these different crosses. Well,
Wow.
I started out with saddlebred horses and in the show ring, and then I hot walked a lot of polo ponies. I started playing a little polo, and I jumped horses, and I started roping, and then I got into mules. I started driving mules and packing mules. But I fell in love with the open range wild feral horse.
Have you ever done a film on this? Or?
No, but darn it, I just sent a letter to an old. He worked on the Last Picture Show. He was like a fourth AD. And he was in the movie. He's married to Kathleen Kennedy.
Wow. Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know about Cal.
Oh yeah. Kennedy, and they do all the movies for Spielberg.
Don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
Darn it. You know who I'm talking about. He's a big producer.
Her
He's very,
husband.
yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's very famous now. I sent him I can't remember. Well, Sam, when my brother Sam was dying, he said, hey, you know, they're doing all these part 2 movies. And I talked with Dalton about it. His favorite movie was, one of his favorite movies was Alone Near the Brave. And so I called up Mike. Sam was saying, you know, do these part 2 before I die, Tim. See if you can get a hold of Kirk Douglas, because I'd worked with him. Or Michael, and see what's the story on Alone Near the Brave. And make that a remake. It could be exciting.
Yeah, sure.
Frank Marshall.
Frank Marshall.
Frank.
Yes, and Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
So I caught a hold of Michael, and of course he's getting better, but he said, Dad sold the rights back to Universal. So I sent an email to Frank, and I sent him a picture of me roping cattle over in Maui, just to let him know I can still set a horse, and haven't heard back from him, but I'm sure he's very, very busy doing that. We did that war horse picture.
Well, I'd like to put a whole section in, if Malibu,
that's a film I think that should be
Magazine does this right, I'd like to put a whole section in there on what you're doing with these horses, because I think it's a fabulous
Well, I still have 10
story.
and I had a portable round pen, and I was helping folks every time they would adopt horses. I had my shingle out, and I'd help you get it into the trailer, and help you get the halter on and off, pick up its feet, and if you wanted to ride it, we'd surcingle it up and roll it in the wood, and we'd ride that horse in a way that was very much like what the movie Buck Brannaman's doing. We sort of had the same teachers. And so I did that on a smaller scale, not a very famous scale, but most of the time I ended up doing it for nothing, because a lot of these people can't afford it anyway. And I do it for the horse.
That's pretty incredible. Just give the general idea as to where your ranch is.
Well, I walked into a place years ago. I'm north of the Hearst Castle, on the edge of the old Hearst Ranch, which is now Fort Hunter Liggett, United States Army. It's the 7th largest Army base in the United States, and it's the premier Army base on the west coast of North America. And there's a mountain range that runs through there. It's called the San Lucias. It's the coastal Sierras.
Right.
It's famous for a town called Big Sur,
I've
California.
driven that road from.
Yeah, well, right in the middle of that road,
Yeah.
there's a little hamlet called Lucia, California, and it's
Right.
on the tallest mountain on the coast of
I was
North
just
America. I own the backside of that mountain.
No kidding.
And I walked in there, I bought it in '74, and it's the headwaters of San Antonio.
I was at the Lucia Cafe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's Michael's place.
Right.
Good food.
Very good. Yeah.
So I live they're my closest neighbor, and so I
Wow.
live just on the backside of the mountain.
So you're the southern part of the Big Sur area.
Yeah, I'm a South Coast
Yeah.
character. Big Sur boy #1.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I've been up there running around for a long time.
Well, I have a couple more questions on the film, and then I'm going to stop, and then we're going to go through his career as much as
Yeah,
you
then
can
I
do.
can
Yeah,
let you do that alone. So.
I wanted to ask you first of all, who the better golfer is, you or Mel?
Oh, Mel.
Are you into golf or?
Yeah, I love golf.
Oh, you do.
Oh, I love golf.
What would you say you're better at, golf or surfing or riding?
I'm way better at surfing.
Really?
Oh my God, I've surfed all over the world.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm pretty good at. And I'm a pretty good horseman.
You surfed all over the world. Well, give me a few examples.
I surfed the harbor of Jaffa in Israel, one of the oldest harbors. Surfed all over Tahiti, Easter Island, South America, Central America,
Been
all
to the
over Hawaii.
Marquesas? Or?
No, didn't get over the Marquesas.
How about Papua New Guinea?
I haven't been down to Papua,
Okay.
but always looking for ways.
All right. Australia? Probably.
I've been over Australia,
Yeah.
New Zealand.
Yeah. Great.
Surfed New
Good,
Zealand.
Good. Yeah.
You know, Colorado River.
My editor's really into this. So.
I love, yeah. I love surfing. Grew up in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
You know, some of the best times I remember is getting out on the lineup, and all 4 of my kids are there.
Really?
We're all on a party wave, and it's all about the glide to me. It's not about ripping. It's all about the glide and getting that free ride, and then you get a
You
good
surfed the
workout.
North Shore.
Oh yeah, my kids are over there right now. My oldest son is a horse doctor on Maui. He's heading to Kauai, so we surf Maui a lot.
Amazing.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have 2 sons that are very good surfers.
You know Turtle Bay up there.
Oh yeah, that's nothing.
Okay.
Well, it can get big, but
pretty. But,
yeah, that's where they shoot loss on those series and stuff.
well, okay.
That's a wobble.
Would you like to work with Tamar again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, we're planning on it.
We're planning on it.
Yeah.
No way.
As soon as you can pull yourself together.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, you will.
Well, I've had a little time out.
You'll do it. I mean,
Oh, for sure. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting
Absolutely.
script.
I
Yeah. Well,
love
don't
it.
tell me about it.
No, we won't, because
Not
that's
yet.
our next interview.
That's right.
That's right. You have to keep wraps on those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And people steal that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
have you ever been interested in directing a film? Have you ever directed?
I have directed some stuff. Actually, I was doing some little western. The director was freaking out. He said, "Tim, go direct this scene." So I directed Jason Connery, Sean Connery's
Oh,
son,
my God.
in a couple of scenes.
It's an interesting
Oh, that's good.
kid. That
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. What a nice kid.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Grew up to
Jason.
be a nice actor, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
How did you like
you know, it
it?
had a lot to do with the picture this. But George and I kind of fell apart because I lost all my money, and he ended up,
Oh.
and he kind of hit it, but unfortunately,
Is Hollywood in
he's
trouble
gone.
now, would you say?
Is Hollywood what?
Is Hollywood in trouble now with all this financial stuff?
I think the financial stuff, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
difficult.
because I-
But not with movies,
I mean, I have a
independent
friend,
films.
Bruce Davidson. He said he's
Yes,
getting
right.
like a third of what he used to get.
I don't even get that. I think, why did you pay me $900? But it's not about the money. It's not about the money.
Yeah,
If it's about the money, you can't do these
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Right.
And none
Not
of
these
them.
kind of movies. And
yeah. Well,
This
these
is-
are
this is
indie
freedom.
movies. Indie movies.
This is freedom.
Right.
There's even categories of indie movies.
Yeah.
You know, and these are really low
I
budget.
mean, I'd love to be back in the big leagues, you know, with making lots of money, but, you know, hey, you know,
Doesn't
I had a
matter.
great ride. I'm not complaining. I had a wonderful time.
You did.
Well, you did Call of the Wild and The Land That
Yeah.
Time Forgot. And,
Yeah, well, that was so much. Well, Tommy Howell, my friend Tommy, called me and said, "Hey, we're making
I
this
mean,
movie."
those are big budget movies.
No, Land That Time Forgot was Zippo.
Really?
Oh
I
yeah.
thought that was pretty big.
No, that was like about $50,000, $60,000. It was. We shot it in like 8 days.
Really?
Oh, it was
Wow.
nothing. No, that was for the asylum.
No kidding. Yeah.
But they're making a lot of money on that picture.
Yeah.
It's ready.
Those are the kind of numbers
That was a nothing
Yeah.
little
Really?
picture. And the Call of the Wild, that was an interesting film. Independent producers out of Oregon,
Mhm.
and a fellow that actually ran for Congress, Rich Lott, but he got busted for dressing up like a Nazi or something for Halloween.
Oh my God.
Finished his career for
So
Congress.
did Prince Harry.
That's right, right. I Harry put on a costume
That's
too.
right.
That's right.
Nobody can be a
He's a
bad
ghost.
guy anymore.
Nobody has a sense of humor.
Yeah, in our film, Land of Time Forgot, we had dinosaurs and Nazis. Talk about a dilemma. How bad can it get?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well, I think.
I can be excused now.
Yeah, you
folks.
can. But thanks a lot for first of all letting us use your house.
Are you kidding?
And,
This
and,
is our.
and
this is
thanks
our
for having
life.
such a great time doing your movies, because you know what impressed me was the way Malcolm McDowell, when you did your last movie, said this woman fights for what she believes in, and that's really rare, you know.
Thank you.
And I went to school with Coppola in 2 different places, and he's a total pain in the ass, I'm telling you.
Really?
And you know, he's bankrupted so many people.
Not anymore. He doesn't have to go hand in hand anymore, man.
Well, I don't know.
No, he doesn't.
His daughter's film, that you know, the Marie Antoinette, that lost the lost the
Sam's
massive-
daughter was her lady in waiting.
Really?
My little
Really?
brother Sam. That was her lady in waiting. Yeah, EO.
Yeah.
EO
No
Bones.
kidding. Yeah, that lost a lot of money.
Yeah, I understand. But Francis is making so much money selling
From his
wine and
wine.
enjoying his life,
Yeah.
he can produce his own things now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the film Somewhere, which I
Yeah,
lent
I have
you,
it.
take
My
it with
bag.
you, enjoy it,
I
and
will.
bring it back.
I will. I'll watch it tonight.
But you'll enjoy it. It's beautiful.
It's in that bag. Don't step on it.
So we're gonna stop for about 5 minutes.
For kissing.
Yeah,
Who needs another bottle of water?
I'm totally okay.
Okay.
Was there anything you wanted to add?
Wait, I put the film right in. Where'd you do it? Wait.
You'll find it.
Oh, here, I put the stuff over here.
Oh, okay.
It was all so piled up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fine. Leave it there.
Yeah, you can watch it here.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm going to watch it on my laptop.
So,
That's fine. Okay, just I know on
I'm
my
trying to
laptop.
think if there's anything else to talk about.
What time is Josh coming home?
Oh.
Yeah, actually, that's what you should mention. A little bit about Josh.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
should talk for a minute about Josh, and also, I suppose we should be a little bit more proactive about something like, you know, everybody should.
We're on Showtime.
Oh,
Did you
no,
mention
yeah,
that?
we've been on Showtime.
You're gonna
but-
write that.
No, before we worry about going back on, on your machine there. I think one thing we didn't talk about was that I think the movie's basic allure is that it's a very controversial subject.
It is.
But it's a subject
True.
Yeah.
that is really, that it almost surprisingly, certainly for me, that it came to life.
Mhm.
It was a story. I liked it because I like a good story.
Mhm.
I thought it was a great story.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a true story.
All over the place.
All over the
Yeah.
place. And that's what I think is so...
Even the Vatican.
Yeah, but
Well,
seriously.
I'm sure
they've
it
had
happens all over the world.
They've had their problems,
Yes,
the
they have.
negative side of this whole thing.
Right.
But I just, without taking a stand,
Mhm.
just the fact that this movie opens up a dialogue.
It's
that
not
is-
just an American problem.
Oh,
These are kids all over in Europe.
All over the country.
No, all over, no, you had
All over the
Montreal, you
world.
had China,
Everywhere.
and all
Everywhere.
over
Japan.
South America. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
if you look, if you go to Google enough times and just put in student prostitution, you're flooded with stories.
Mhm.
And that's something that maybe we should have added. That little part of it, because I think...
Well, you do have the tag at the end of the film too, where the three women comment about what they.
That was
Which
Yeah,
is
just
really
like doing...
That was shot
Let
later
me-
too.
Yeah,
Just
Yeah.
like doing,
I
again,
really like that.
when you do a little tiny movie...
We're not innocent too, they were saying. It's not like we didn't know what we were doing.
That's totally true. But not only that, I'm glad you said those words though that you just said. But also, when you do a low budget movie, your process is very different than doing a big budget movie. And very often, if you're wise, you put a little bit of money aside, and that's going to be for the year later after you've toiled, putting this movie together like a quilt, patchworking it, and saying, Jesus, in my effort to get the thing made, I forgot a very important scene. And
Right.
one of them was the scene with Tim and Ashley, and
Right.
the other one was with the girls.
Right.
You could not leave that movie without knowing how they felt about it. It was so important to me.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to me because they showed up exactly like they were in the movie. A year later, they came in their outfits. I didn't even tell them to. I was just going to talk to them, and instead, they were in character a year later.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Very interesting.
So, okay.
Good. And how about Josh? What part did he play?
Is it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's filming.
Oh, you're recording?
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is great, so I
Yeah.
don't have to
No,
do
you don't
this
have to
again.
do it again.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Josh is amazing because, he's a doctor, he's a psychoanalyst, he's a teacher of doctors,
Teaches at
psychiatry.
UCLA.
Yeah, he's a professor.
Medical school.
But, yes, he teaches in the medical school at UCLA. And he's very smart. Went to Harvard, he went to Yale Medical School. But he's got tremendous empathy, and that's very useful to have around a set in a movie situation. I mean, you cannot do any better than having a guy like Josh just hanging around when guys aren't working. You used to talk to him all the time.
I'll come here for my sessions all the time.
I mean, it's a fascinating thing, but
Yeah.
and for me, we live in two different worlds. I mean, he's not really a filmmaker, but he's an amazing support system because he loves the arts, and he is just sort of a cushion in a good way to help you through some of the anxieties that you have.
Or he helps with character choices,
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
dialogue.
Yeah, I came early last time, and Tamar was a little pissed off because I was like 20 minutes early. But Josh was here, and I felt like I should have paid him, for 20 minutes.
That's
It was
I'm glad
so
you-
fascinating,
No, I'm so
really.
glad you said that.
Well, we have friends in common like, Joseph.
Oh yeah,
and
Joe is
so-
great.
Well, okay.
Now I'm going to say continue.